I could care less about Bitcoin. I don't know why I said anything about it. The blockchain is a technology, which is a good technology. We actually use it. It will be used for a lot of different things. God bless the blockchain. Cryptocurrencies and digital currencies, I think are also fine. JP Morgan moves $6 trillion around the world every day. We don't do it in cash. It's done digitally. If it can be done digitally with the blockchain, so be it. But it'll still be a dollar cryptocurrency.
JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon spouted off from Davos yesterday, speaking ill of the Bitcoin movement. Leave it to Mr. Big Bank himself to warn you to not stray from his path. Remember, the JP Morgan gang would never do anything to lose the public's trust. And don't forget to like and subscribe like one of your French girls.
He mentioned Bitcoin. You said you didn't know what we were talking about. We pretty much always have some crypto conversation with you. I'm just curious, because I don't think we've talked to you since...
I think all that's been a waste of time, and why you guys waste any breath on it is totally beyond me.
Because you just think the whole thing just is
going to zero?
Going to zero and it's fake?
Bitcoin itself is a hyped-up fraud. It's a pet rock.
You're back to that?
Yeah,
really?
Of course, yeah.
So what do you make then of BlackRock and other firms that are investing in infrastructure?
No, that's different. Blockchain is a technology ledger system that we use to move information. We've used it to do overnight repo, intraday repo. We've used it to move money.
Right.
So that is a ledger. That's a technology ledger type of thing that we think will be deployable.
Remember, we've
been talking about that for 12 years too, and very little's been done.
There's some tokens that I agree with you on, but Bitcoin's based on a distributed ledger.
Yeah,
it has all the characteristics of a store of value. It's immutable. It's scarce.
Totally untrue. It's
21 million.
Well, yeah, really. How do you know it's going to stop at 21 million?
Because
I've mentioned this to people
Satoshi,
too. Everyone says that. Well, maybe it's going to get to 21 million, and Satoshi's picture is going to come up and laugh at you all and say, "No."
There isn't a picture.
And by then, Satoshi will have taken out billions of dollars.
Here he is a few years ago singing the same old song.
Non-fiat cryptocurrency, dollar, so crypto, sterling, euro, yen, they're all fine. I don't personally understand the value of something that has no actual value. You all can do whatever you want, and I don't care. Okay?
All right. That sounds definitive. Bitcoin hit a new high today.
I could care less what Bitcoin trades for, how it trades, why it trades, who trades it. If you're stupid enough to buy it, you'll pay the price for it one day. I've also told people that it can trade at $100,000 before it trades to zero. Tulip bulbs traded for $75,000 once, something like that. The only value of a Bitcoin is what the other guy will pay for it. And I think, honestly, I think there's a good chance that Bitcoin, a lot of the buyers out there are up there jazzing it up every day so that maybe you'll buy it too and take them out. And I quite mean that, by the way. These people are very good at manipulating the press these days and getting news out. And so every day, you have CNBC, nonstop Bitcoin. Who cares about Bitcoin? I mean, the world economy is so big. We move, JP Morgan alone, these companies, $6 trillion. We move all this money. And Bitcoin in total is, all these currencies are $50 billion, maybe $1 billion trades a day. And the other thing I've always made of Bitcoin, governments, and this is not a technological statement, governments are going to crush it one day. Governments like to know where the money is, who has it, and what you're doing with it. And in case you haven't noticed, okay? And governments like to control their currency, like to control their own economy. So China's already put curbs on it. Japan, they say Japan accepted Bitcoin. No, they didn't. What I gathered Japan did was they call it J-coin. It's a yen cryptocurrency. It's not a non-fiat. And there's a big difference. People have said legitimately, okay, it's close to gold. Not really. Gold is limited and has been around a long time, and it's close to a fiat currency. Not really. A fiat currency is where the government says, this is your legal tender. You have to give it and accept it. And there's a central bank. Now, of course, they can misuse it, the central bank, and inflate it. So there is a use case for Bitcoin. If you live in Venezuela, North Korea, or if you're a criminal, great product. I mean that. It's better than cash or deposits in that country, Cuba. But this is the last time I'm ever going to answer a question about Bitcoin because I really don't care. I also pointed out when I made that stupid statement, which got all the thing, I called it fraud, my daughter sent me an email saying, "Dad, I own 2 Bitcoins." My formerly smart daughter.
While we have Mr. CEO here, let's hear what other reliable forecasts he has for the economy.
First big interview of the morning, Jamie Dimon, Chairman and CEO of J.P. Morgan. Nice to see you, sir.
Happy to be here.
So you want to help us understand what happened in your mind between then and now?
Yeah, basically nothing. Okay, part of that storm clouds hit. Rates went higher than people thought. With stock markets down 20%, the IPO market disappeared. And the economy, of course, we all talk about it. It's like the weather. We don't really know, and I hate guessing about that. We should have a little humility. I've never seen anyone actually do it well. But the real issue for the world is Russia, war, Ukraine, energy, trade, and that is serious. And that's still out there. Hopefully it'll mitigate and go away, but it may not. So, as a risk manager, you kind of prepare for some of that.
But in terms of this question, we were literally debating just what happened yesterday in terms of how the markets are thinking about things compared to this morning, frankly.
The markets have always been wrong, too.
For a while.
I mean, listen, the way we run the company is to serve clients day in and day out through thick or thin. I know there are going to be recessions, up, downs, and downs. I really don't spend that much time worrying about it. I do worry about poor public policy that damages American growth. I worry about a lot of stuff, but not about whether, what the weather's going to be like. And of course, I don't want a recession because it hurts average Americans. I'm not for it, but I have to be prepared for it.
But I think there's a lot of businesses here that are trying to figure out what to do, what their budgets are supposed to look like, whether they need to raise more capital. Yeah. They'd have to call you for that. Yeah. That's why. So what are you telling them?
I think every business, any business, large or small, should prepare for a bunch of eventualities and then run the business to serve your clients. And, not worry that much about tomorrow's profit margins so are you building products and services and you can do a good job? And can you handle, the input and output prices going way up or way down?
Jimmy, a global conflict probably would be bad for J.P. Morgan and obviously for all of us. Yep. We're in Davos. It's almost like the Russia problem, people almost have it on a back burner, like, oh, yeah, dictators are going to do what dictators are going to do. But we still have how many nuclear weapons? Russia still has how many nuclear weapons? We don't know whether that's a possibility.
I agree with you.
And for every panel on climate change, there isn't a panel on a nuclear holocaust.
The only thing that matters for the future of the world is how this thing plays out. Russia, Ukraine, and the humanitarian crisis. When I wake up every day and I read the missiles going into buildings and killing kids every day, and it's nuclear blackmail. This is the most serious issue, and in my view, it could be an inflection point for the Western world 400 years. Like, do we get our act together to help win this war, help the Ukrainians, help rebuild Ukraine, and then negotiate proper trade relationship with China, manage...
That's what I was going to say. Do you look at this
That is the issue. That's not... The other stuff is the weather.
You just talked about China. Do you look at... Some people have talked about this as a dress rehearsal for whatever our relationship is with China in the future.
China, Americans have to understand that our GDP per person is 75,000. Theirs is 15. We have all the food, water, and energy we need. They import 11 million barrels a day. They've lifted up their society, but it's nothing like ours in terms of prosperity, growth, innovation. I want them to do well for their people. Right. I'm not against it. We have a competitive relationship. It does not need to be adversary. I think I'm very happy that we're talking to them now. And apparently,
they say they're opening up. That's the message you hear everywhere in Davos. Is that a head fake? Is that real? And
they have to.
They have to for the long term.
For themselves. They need to grow their economy, to lift up their people, to compete in the world out there. And so the warm up is it's a warm up to the extent that the Western world. We need to. Trade's not going to go away, and it's all decoupling notion is crazy. What it's going to be is restructuring. So of two types: anything that relates to national security, so and it'll be different for every country. Semiconductors, reliant, secure, safe, cheap energy, which is critical for everybody, and food. And then where we think is unfair competition, that should be negotiated. And yes, of course, America, we should have done this sooner, but we didn't.
So even